So, can massage really affect your vagus nerve? I'm Eleftheria, and in today's episode of my Science Behind Massage podcast, we're exploring one of the most fascinating connections in the human body, one that links your hands as a massage therapist to some of the most profound healing responses your clients can experience. We'll talk about what the vagus nerve actually is, where it travels through the body, how it develops before we're even born, what vagal tone means for health, its relationship with stress and conditions like asthma and digestive issues, and most importantly, how you can work with it through massage and simple techniques to help reset the nervous system. I remember working with a client years ago, back when I was still teaching my first time massage class in 2004. She came in carrying tension like a heavy coat she couldn't take off. After our session, she described feeling like she'd finally exhaled after holding her breath for months. At the time, I knew I'd help her relax, but I didn't fully understand the mechanism behind that profound shift. Years of teaching and studying the human body have taught me that what I was likely doing was helping activate her vagus nerve, that crucial pathway between the brain and the rest of the body that governs our ability to truly rest and recover. Let's start with the name itself, because understanding where words come from often reveals something deeper about what they mean. The term vagus comes from Latin, and it means wandering or wanderer. When the early anatomists named this nerve, they chose that word deliberately because unlike other cranial nerves that have fairly direct, straightforward paths, the vagus nerve meanders through the body like a traveler exploring new territory. It starts in the brainstem and extends down through the neck, chest and abdomen, touching nearly every major organ along the way. So, what exactly is the vagus nerve in anatomical terms? It's the 10th cranial nerve, often written as CNX in medical terms. It's a mixed cranial nerve with both sensory and motor functions. Its motor fibers control muscles in the pharynx, larynx and palate, which are vital for swallowing and speech. Its sensory fibers transmit signals from organs in the chest and abdomen, as well as taste from the back of the tongue and general sensation from the ears and throat, all that back to the brain. The nerve actually exists as a pair with the right vagus nerve and the left vagus nerve, each originating from the medulla oblongata in the brainstem. From there, these two nerves exit the skull through a small opening called the jugular foramen and begin their long journey downward through the body. The path these nerves take is actually remarkable when you think about it. As they descend through the neck, they travel alongside the carotid artery and internal jugular vein, sending off branches that innervate the pharynx and larynx, which is why the vagus nerve plays such an important role in swallowing and speaking. The right and left vagus nerve don't follow identical paths once they reach the chest. The right vagus nerve tends to travel along the trachea and forms what's called the posterior vagal trunk, while the left vagus nerve descends along the aortic arch and becomes the anterior vagal trunk. Both nerves give off cardiac branches that help regulate heart rate and pulmonary branches that influence breathing patterns. But they don't stop there. The vagus nerve continues into the abdomen, where it branches extensively to reach the stomach, liver, pancreas, gallbladder, and most of the intestines. This extensive branching is part of what makes the vagus nerve so crucial for so many different body functions. It's not just one simple cable running from point A to point B. It's more like a complex network that touches base with nearly every major system involved in keeping us alive and well. This nerve develops remarkably early in our lives, even before we are born. During embryonic development, the vagus nerve begins forming in the first few weeks after conception as part of the neural crest, a group of cells that will eventually become much of the peripheral nervous system. What's fascinating is how the single nerve, starting from such a small cluster of cells, grows and branches to eventually connect the brain with so many different organs and systems. The developmental process shows us something important about how interconnected our bodies really are from the very beginning. The same nerve that will one day help you digest your food starts developing at the same time as the nerve fibers that will control your voice and your heartbeat. Now, you've probably heard the term vagal tone, and it's worth understanding what that actually means because it's central to how the vagus nerve affects health. Vagal tone refers to the activity level of the vagus nerve, essentially how well it's functioning and how responsive it is. Think of it like the volume knob on a stereo, but instead of controlling sound, it controls your body's ability to shift between stress and relaxation states. Higher vagal tone means the vagus nerve is more active and responsive, which generally correlates with better stress regulation, improved emotional control, better digestion, and even stronger immune function. One of the most practical ways to measure vagal tone is through something called heart rate variability, which looks at the tiny variations in time between each heartbeat. When your vagal tone is high, your heart rate actually varies more from beat to beat, which might sound concerning, but it is actually a sign of a healthy, flexible nervous system. Low vagal tone, on the other hand, is associated with a rigid heart rate pattern and is linked to a range of health challenges, including chronic inflammation, poor emotional regulation, and increased susceptibility to stress. This brings us to the vagus nerve's role in stress, and this is where things get really relevant for massage therapists. The vagus nerve is the main component of the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your autonomic nervous system responsible for the rest and digest response. When you're stressed, your sympathetic nervous system kicks in with that fight or flight response we've all heard about. Your heart races, your breathing becomes shallow, your digestion slows down, and your muscles tense up. The vagus nerve is what helps bring you back from that state. When the vagus nerve is activated, it sends signals that slow your heart rate, deepen your breathing, improve digestive function, and reduce inflammation throughout the body. It literally tells your organs that it's safe to relax and recover. For people dealing with chronic stress, which, let's be honest, it's most of the population these days, the vagus nerve often becomes underactive. They get stuck in that sympathetic state, and their bodies forget how to fully relax even when the immediate stressor is gone. This connection extends to conditions like asthma, where vagal nerve function plays a complex role. The vagus nerve influences the bronchial smooth muscle and can affect airway responsiveness. In some people, vagal activation can help reduce respiratory stress, while in others, certain vagal responses might trigger constriction. It's a reminder that the nervous system influence on health is nuanced and individual. Beyond breathing issues, the vagus nerve influence touches digestive disorders, certain types of chronic pain, inflammatory conditions, and even mood disorders like anxiety and depression. Because this nerve carries information between the brain and the internal organs while helping coordinate the body's relaxation response, when it's not functioning optimally, the effects can show up in seemingly unrelated parts of the body. That muscle tension your client complains about, sometimes it's not just about the muscles themselves. It's about a nervous system that's been running in high gear for so long that the muscles never receive the signal to truly let go. So, here's the practical part you've been waiting for. How do we actually work with the vagus nerve through massage? The good news is that several techniques can help stimulate vagal activity and improve vagal tone over time. The most direct approach involves working along the path of the nerve itself, particularly in the neck region. Gentle, slow work along the sides of the neck when the vagus nerve travels near the surface can have profound effects. I'm talking about soft, sustained pressure rather than anything aggressive. The key is working in a way that signals safety to the nervous system. Use long, flowing strokes along the sternocleidomastoid muscle, that prominent muscle that runs from behind your ear down to your collarbone. Work should be slow, rhythmic, and never painful. The area behind the ears is another powerful access point. Gentle, circular massage just behind the earlobes, where the nerve emerges from the skull, can be incredibly calming. Many people don't even realize they're holding tension there until you touch it. Another effective technique involves working with the jaw and temples, as these areas have rich neural connections that can influence vagal activity when relaxed. Abdominal massage deserves a special mention because the vagus nerve has such extensive branches throughout the digestive organs. Slow, clockwise circular strokes on the belly, following the path of the colon, can help stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system and improve digestive function. This kind of work is deeply relaxing when done with the right pressure and intention. Beyond specific massage techniques, there are several ways people can help reset their vagus nerve on their own, and these are worth sharing with clients. Deep, slow breathing, particularly emphasizing a longer exhale than inhale, directly stimulates the vagus nerve. Cold water exposure, whether it's splashing cold water on your face or ending a shower with a cold rinse, activates the vagal response. Humming, singing, or chanting creates vibrations in the throat that stimulates the nerve. Even gargling with water can help because it activates the muscles in the back of the throat that the vagus nerve innervates. Gentle yoga, particularly poses that involve back bends or chest opening, can help improve vagal tone over time. Social connection and positive social interactions also stimulate the vagus nerve, which is part of why isolation can be so harmful to health. And of course, regular massage therapy is one of the most effective ways to maintain a healthy vagal function. What makes all of this information so valuable for massage therapists is that it gives you a framework for understanding why your work matters beyond just releasing tight muscles. When you're working with someone's neck, their abdomen, or even just creating an environment of safety and relaxation, you're potentially influencing one of the most important regulatory systems in their body. You're not just treating symptoms, you're helping restore the body's natural ability to heal and regulate itself. For anyone interested in wellness, whether you're a professional therapist or someone exploring ways to support your own health, understanding the vagus nerve opens up new possibilities. It connects the dots between physical tension, emotional stress, digestive issues, and immune function in a way that makes sense of why holistic approaches to health can be so effective. If you want to learn more about these techniques and deepen your understanding, I invite you to book an online massage class with me. Consider becoming a member of this channel for access to premium content. You can also find my books on massage and wellness on Amazon under my name, Eleftheria Manzoru. And please, if you found this valuable, subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content on massage therapy and wellness. There's so much more to explore, and I'm here to share what I've learned over nearly 2 decades of practice and teaching. Thank you so much for listening. Be healthy and happy always.